concussion protocol, he could play in that Arizona game and Miami. So wish him well. So I don't even know what to make of the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels got hurt yesterday. They still won 40-7, and Marcus Mariota looked like year two, promising ascending Marcus Mariota. They're doing everything right. They have the number one point differential in the NFL. That is something. That's usually a team that ends up in a conference championship. They're bludgeoning people. Everybody in the building is new. And J-Mac and I talked about this all offseason. I said, I got no problem with everybody in the building being new when everybody in the old building stunk. So everything's fresh. But Cliff Kingsbury, they went to a backup quarterback. Mariota looked great. I don't know what to make of them. I mean, the roster is it's not Detroit. It's not Philadelphia. It's not Green Bay. It's not San Francisco. I don't think it's Seattle. I don't think it's Atlanta. I don't think it's Tampa. I don't know what to make of them. But when you have the point differential, you're going to a backup, and it looked like Carolina quit. I'll acknowledge that if you can quit in the NFL. But so I was doing my Super Bowl bubble this morning, and J-Mac's pushing back. But I usually have about 7 teams that are in it. And for the radio audience, I have Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City in the AFC, I think can end up in a Super Bowl. Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay. I don't know what in the heck I'm doing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they're 5-2, and they play great defense with a Super Bowl winning coach, a power run game, and if they're Russell Wilson, what I watched last night, what am I supposed to do with them? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with Washington. They're blowing everybody out. I watched them play Baltimore, who may be the second best team in the league. They went toe-to-toe with Baltimore. San Francisco is about as good as you're going to be outside of a Super Bowl bubble. I think Houston, to your point, when Joe Mixon's available, they're a very good team. Without Joe Mixon, C.J. Stroud still feels like they're protecting him a little. But now you have questioned why I don't have Philadelphia in. They're the only NFL team that has not scored a single point in the first quarter.
Not great.
Not great. That means you're going to trail every week.
Indicative of the coach, clearly. Well, there's 2 teams. I'll get to the other in a second.
Okay.
The problem with Philadelphia is when they face some of these teams, like they totally dominate the box score. Dominated the box score against the Saints. Dominated the Browns, didn't on the scoreboard.
Those are bad teams.
But they're crushing them in the box score by like 200 yards of offense. Yesterday, they pulverized the Giants. Giants couldn't move the football. They had like 150 yards of offense.
I don't doubt Philly's roster. I don't doubt it at all. Yeah, I mean, it's just like an offensive coach.
Okay, well, so, let's focus on the Commanders. I think this is really interesting because it's funny that this is what Colin is saying right now because, I took my notes and then at the bottom I wrote, but seeing how everyone was able to rally behind Marcus Mariota just shows you how well prepared and well coached and resilient the Washington Commanders are. And how good also Cliff Kingsbury is as an offensive coordinator. The fact that Marcus Mariota was able to look like the MVP is quite remarkable. Really quite remarkable. And again, I get it. It's the Carolina Panthers. And a part of me is like, oh man, Jaden Daniels would have dominated this game as well. And it would have built his resume for Rookie of the Year and all of that. But those are just awards, whatever. But I want to just talk about the game as a whole as well. Because it's interesting. When I saw this game, I was already thinking to myself, I'm very confident that the Commanders are going to win. And as I've said now over the weeks, especially if you've been watching a lot of my Jane Daniels videos, I said, listen, even when you play a bad team, if you're a rookie, there's still a lot of takeaways, right? Because I don't care if you're a bad team. When you're a rookie, there's still a lot of positives if you beat them. Now, if you're an established player, established veteran, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they beat a bad team. I don't care if they put up 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. It means nothing to me, right? Like, you're an established veteran. You have more than the ability and experience to dominate a bad team, right? It means nothing to me. But for rookies, a lot of times people want to downplay a big win against a bad team or a bad defense. And I'm like, they're rookies. The fact that they're able to do this is awesome because they're seasoned veterans who can't even do this, right? So that means a lot to me. But it's funny because going to this game, I was already thinking Jane Daniels is going to ball out. And honestly, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, I don't have a lot of takeaways from this. I know what I said with all these other games, but I'm no longer judging Jaden Daniels through the lens of a rookie. Like, he's already graduated the rookie lens right now. I'm looking at him as an established NFL starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not fighting to just belong or to show that he's good enough, right? And that was obviously robbed with the injury. But now I'm looking at the Commanders, and in Colin said, I don't know what to do with the Commanders. I think the Commanders are the Green Bay Packers of last year, right? They're this really young team, new quarterback, right? Really energetic, really feisty, belief in them, and really new in terms of what they're doing right now. The Lions last year had already built up a lot of momentum from the season before, had the continuity already with a lot of positions and quarterback play. So I think that's where the Commanders are right now, right? They are who the Green Bay Packers were last year. I don't know what the update is with Jaden Daniels' rib injury. For the most part, a rib injury is definitely going to be better than some of the other injuries that you can have. There'll definitely be some discomfort and some lingering issues, but I'm hopeful because I think Jaden Daniels is an incredibly intelligent person. I think that was very clear by how he plays and any of the conversations and any of the, the interviews and media, sound bites that you get from him, that I think he will learn to protect himself. I think this was an important lesson. And he was angry. And I said he was angry. And I wrote good in all caps, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation. Because that's the appropriate response, is anger, right? This didn't just happen to you. This wasn't just bad luck, right? He's got to learn to protect himself. It's like boxing. The number one rule in boxing is protect yourself at all times in the ring. At all times you protect yourselves. That's what you do. And so that's what Jaden needs to learn to do. He needs to protect himself. He's too great, too awesome of a pocket passer, and too fast and too smart. And I know this wasn't like the worst hit he's taken and all of that. I get it. But it's all cumulative. It all adds up. All adds up. Everything is cumulative, right? It's why these players get run down in week 10, 11, and 12, right? It's why a lot of these guys break down when it's like seemingly not a really hard hit or no contact at all. You see that so much more in both ends. In the very beginning of the season, when your body's not prepared yet, or near the end of the season, when your body's worn down, right? So that's when you see a lot of this stuff happen. And so I want to see Jaden Daniels continue to evolve. Be smart. Slide. Get out of bounds, get out of bounds, get out of bounds. And there you go. I mean, the guy, he was a second lead rusher with nearly 25% of the rushing yards with 50. And then he played for 2 seconds, right? I mean, he barely played relative to the game. And yet he was still, in beast mode, right? He's just special. He's just special, but he's got to continue to play smarter. His talent is there. His ability on the field is there. I want to see him continue to play smarter. It's funny because a lot of times you have rookies play and you're waiting for their abilities and their talent to catch up in the NFL. It's already there for him. The room where he has to grow is in the mind now, is more intellectual. And again, I think he will because I think he's incredibly smart. And when you're really smart, you're going to get this faster. You're going to grow faster. It's why it's why he got in the NFL and hit the ground running. It's why he's been able to have the levels of success that he has. He hasn't gotten away with just pure talent. It's because of his preparation. It's because of his understanding of the game. It's because of his ability to work with Cliff Kingsbury, a great offensive mind. So, yeah, I think it's weird. Again, a game like this, right? Washington cruises despite Daniels' rib injuries. What's the Commanders' ceiling this season? And I get it. That's why it's confusing because you're like, what does this mean? How are they able to do this? And again, it shows that this team is very well coached. They're building a great culture. They believe in themselves. They're not quarterback dependent, which matters. No matter how great your quarterback is, whether you're Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter. No matter how great you are, you can't be quarterback dependent. And they're clearly not. They didn't just crash and burn. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't the Jaden Daniels show. And yet they were still able to cruise 40-7. That's very impressive. It shows you that what the Commanders are building is special, is sustainable, resilient, and in the process of dominating. And a lot of people laughed at me when I made a video last week where I said, listen, if they play their cards right and get this defense going as well, and Jaden Daniels continues to evolve, they are looking at building a true dominant team for years to come, right? Dynastic. And people are like, oh, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm not saying they have a dynasty. I'm not saying they will. But when you have a quarterback as special as Jaden Daniels, and you have the coaching staff, and now you build out the culture, and you get some free agents, and you draft appropriately, and your defense catches up to your great top-level quarterback, that's what's at the table. And I even said that for the Packers before the season ever even started. I said they just were able to sign Jordan Love. They had this really young team. They have this brilliant offensive mind in Matt LaFleur. Like that's what's for the taking right there. You're building a more resilient franchise. And that's what the Commanders have before them. When you're able to have this level of success, and like Colin said, they don't have the roster of some of these teams. But the fact that they're able to have this level of success this early on shows you how deep it goes. It shows you the level of coaching, right? It shows you that's why the Chiefs are able to be as resilient as they are right now, even though they have a million injuries. Because it's not just their players. Whereas look at the 49ers, they're more player dependent. Their players go down, they go down. Jordan Love goes down with the Packers, they win 2 games with the backup quarterback. Jaden Daniels goes down, they dominate 40-7, Washington Commanders. It matters. A.J. Brown goes down, Eagles can't do anything offensively. Saquon goes down, oh my God, forget about it. So that's what's really exciting and special if you're a Washington Commanders fan. That's what's at stake, and that's where the potential can lie. So yeah, hopefully Jaden Daniels gets right. Hopefully he continues to be angry about this, and he looks himself in the mirror and says, nope, never again. I'm too good. I'm too important. I gotta be smart, right? That's what happened to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes got banged up a little bit earlier in his career and was like, nope, I am not taking these hits, man. I am not taking these hits. I'm getting out of bounds. I'm doing like my awkward little shuffle run. Nope, not doing it. And the only times that he's ever really kind of taken hits is in more like desperate mode. Or like when you're talking about like being in the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game or whatever it is. Not week 6, week 7, week 8. Week 6, week 7, week 8 means nothing. It means everything for bad teams. It means everything for quarterbacks who are hanging on by a thread. That's not who Jaden Daniels is, and that is not who the Washington Commanders are shaping up to be. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels? What's their ceiling this season? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.